what you say. Oh, that you only...
Are you disenfranchised, maidenless perhaps, feeling the crushing existential weight of an existence of apathy and purposelessness? If you're a young man in 2024, chances are this is probably the case. And the only way to fix your life is to, of course, click the link in my bio and buy my course for the very low price of your dignity and manhood. Only kidding. In my last video, I laid out a myriad of men's problems in detail with as much empathy as I could possibly give, as the plight of young men is no joke and not something to be taken lightly. However, in this video, I'd like to offer some possible solutions to ameliorate the struggles that many modern men face. As somewhat of a connoisseur of the black pill, a very reluctant viewer of red pill content, again, and someone who's experienced many and if not all of these issues young men are currently dealing with, I think maybe I could be of assistance. Or not, and you'll just say that I'm a fake cell and tell me I have no idea what I'm talking about, and of course, it's over bro in the comment section. Shall we, my darlings? In my countless hours consuming black pill content, the most pertinent issue that young men ascribe to their loneliness with women is that they're just not attractive enough. Whether it's being a sub-5 manlet, possessing the dreaded prey eyes, or living a life as a 5'2" balding Indian janitor, looks always seem to be at the forefront of these young men's worries. Are these men justified in their conclusion that if they don't physically resemble a male supermodel, their dating lives will be eternally cooked? Honestly, if I'm being real, yes. Well, kind of. I'll admit it, if you're not extremely physically attractive, you'll have little to no success on dating apps, chatting up a lady in the club will be a futile endeavor, and fucking forget trying to cold approach a woman out in public. But here's the thing. Dating apps are a disgraceful culmination of all of the worst parts of humanity. And even if you have the great fortune and ultimate displeasure of accruing a bunch of likes and matches on Tinder or Hinge, chances are you'll never meet up with any of these women, have some dry-ass conversation about astrology over text that inevitably fizzles out, or just get ghosted altogether, especially when you've made plans to go on a date. Definitely not speaking from personal experience there. And the clubs are a wretched hive of scum and villainy. That just goes without saying. And I know it's probably a little bit too early for misogyny, but it's gotta be 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm sorry to say this, but a substantial amount of young women have fallen for the lies of third-wave feminist ideology, are addicted to social media and all of the evils that come with it, are often quite entitled, to say the least, and extremely superficial when it comes to the men they want to be with.
Ideally, my husband needs to be making like $650,000.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it fucking sucks. And look, I'm not attempting to disparage women in any way, this is just kind of the world that we live in. However, as men, we have a multitude of options to deal with this calamity. Number 1, give up entirely. Just kidding. No, we gotta become more physically attractive to a certain extent. And I'm not talking about looking like Francisco Lachowski, just get that body fat percentage down, build some muscle, and find a pair of pants that fucking fit properly, and try to find some semblance of personal style that makes you feel comfortable and confident. As men, unfortunately, we do live in an age where we can't afford to physically resemble a bridge-dwelling troll if we want to have any chance with the ladies. I hate to break it to you. I'll get into this more later, but becoming better looking is just to get your foot in the door with women. Then after that, if you don't have any other shit going on, it's completely over. Anyway, I know people will say, oh bro, it's my genetics, there's nothing I can do, I'll be a hideous subhuman ghoul forever, it's over. Look, genetics certainly play a massive role in your appearance, but if any of you guys are eating fast food, anything processed with 45 ingredients, drinking soda, and refusing to engage in basic exercise, I don't want to hear the genetics argument. To give away some free game, as they say, just eat whole foods. Nothing out of a bag, no snacks, nothing with multiple ingredients, none of that frozen bullshit from Trader Joe's, and no restaurant food either. Whole foods, my friends. Do that shit for a month, throw the Oreos in the trash, and tell me your jawline isn't visible and you don't see an ab or two. I'm serious. Oh, and not to forget the clear skin, healthy hair, energy, and exponential boost in testosterone. I've seen countless videos of people wondering why men 70 years ago looked more attractive and masculine than modern guys, and it's like, oh wow, so confusing. Maybe it has something to do with people not eating and drinking poison. There's so much nonsensical discourse around diet, exercise, and improving your looks nowadays, like, oh, I'll dirty bulk, then I'll cut out carbs. I heard that the primal diet of only beef heart and sea moss gel is the most optimal. If I cold plunge, then I'll have high test. That will surely make the huzz flock to me. This is an unbelievably immature and downright retarded way of thinking. It seems like so many young men are searching for this get-fix-quick solution to increase their physical appeal, but are making it inordinately more complicated than it needs to be, and resemble like 75-year-old grandmothers buying weight loss pills from late-night TV advertisements, when instead of the pills, it's buying into the prospect of getting a facial surgery that will never happen, purchasing a fraudulent looksmaxxing course from your favorite influencer that still hasn't realized that his own looksmaxxing journey was just going through puberty, and of course booking a flight to Istanbul to thwart the Norwood Reaper's plans once and for all. First of all, thinking this way about becoming attractive is easily the most unattractive and unsettling thing ever, especially to women. If you have this mindset, you come off as unnatural, borderline schizophrenic, and just plain weird, even if you are physically attractive and your looksmaxxing journey has paid off. I think this is one of the fundamental problems with many young men in the modern era. They believe that if they become conventionally attractive, the vast majority of their problems will be solved, their loneliness remedied, the love-shaped hole in their heart filled. Gentlemen, I hate to say it, but this is far from the truth. I know in theory getting approached at the club, complimented on social media, and matched with on dating apps sounds ideal, and sure, most men may derive a modicum of momentary bliss from all of these things, but I personally am of the belief that most men, and especially the men in the black pill space, want a meaningful connection or relationship with a woman they love. And let's say you've done the impossible and legitimately have become attractive. When a woman approaches you, or vice versa, what are you going to talk about with her? Hey, so you know I've spent the past 8 months mewing. Is there any chance you've been starve-maxing while listening to Ecstasy by Suicidal Idol? You know, if you live in LA, that may actually work. But no, if you're a young hot guy without any character, charm, competence, or charisma, you're seen as nothing more than a jester. And then eventually, those women will get sick of you and move on to someone else with a sharper jawline and more Instagram followers. That sounds like a fulfilling life, right? So, how do young men find the right woman they can genuinely love, and possibly even develop an unwavering sense of devotion to them in sickness and health, joy and sorrow, life, death, and whatever comes after? As somewhat of a young man myself, I can't quite answer that question, but I think I know where to start. And let me tell you, it doesn't begin with expecting women to endlessly shower you in compliments or serve you sex on a silver platter. It begins with us, and first and foremost, understanding what defines masculinity, which so few of us young men do. As I've said before, to put it simply, true masculinity is protecting and providing for the people in your life that you love, building an ethos that is predicated on truth, sacrifice, resilience, going through the narrow gate, and rejecting society and its parameters and expectations if it doesn't adhere to that ethos. Masculinity has absolutely nothing to do with how much money you make, how buff you are, or how many women you can sleep with. It also has even less to do with how much you can appease the thoughtless followers of the world who walk around with their eyes wide shut. And look, I'm not saying making money or getting your physique in order isn't something to strive for, but that is not what makes you a man. On top of that, masculinity is becoming the most competent and capable version of yourself, not only so you can do all of these things, but so you yourself have some semblance of inner peace and self-worth. And although protection and provision are incredibly important, they have so little to do with monetary support, guys. Yes, financial competence is certainly an element of fulfilling a masculine position, but to me it seems like the ladies respond far more positively to a man's ability to provide a comfortable and safe atmosphere, conversational adeptness, acute listening ability, emotional availability, competence in seemingly basic domestic duties like cooking, keeping your environment welcoming, safe, and secure, and cleaning your fucking room. Clean your fucking room! You throw some talent and skill on top of that, confidence and conviction in the way that you convey your beliefs and live your life, a well-fitting jacket, and know how to have a little fun and be a little exciting, chances are things are going to be looking up in your relational endeavors with women, and you may be even able to attract some of the good ones. If you're not a virtuous man, you're not going to be attracting the virtuous ladies. It's as simple as that. The red pill dating grifters, coaches, have consistently preached the importance of status and making as much money as possible to attract women. And it's like, yes, this is a surefire way to attract some women, but at what cost, so to speak? Do you really want to be around women who exclusively want you for what you can offer them monetarily and that alone? I've been saying this for quite some time now, but this is exactly why Andrew Tate, Byron from Fresh and Fit, and any of your favorite red pill creators are as misogynistic as they are.
So many women say to me, you're so, Andrew, you know what? You're so rich, but you're smart and you're actually very intelligent. And I know you'd get really bored of a robot. And I'm sitting there thinking, bitch, I wish to God you were a robot.
They lead with their money and status and then wonder why the women in their lives are shallow, avaricious, and seem to be far more interested in the Hermes handbags they can buy for them than them. Brother, this is your doing. You're the one buying the fucking bags. This is why it is imperative for younger guys that are in their late teens and early 20s to literally do everything they can to develop real relationships with women. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. This red pill buffoonery of just throw away your 20s, work your fucking ass off, then women will flock to you when you're 35 and you've made a bunch of money, it needs to be eradicated completely from every young man's mind. That is, unless you want a harem of gold diggers.
So I absolutely gave my 20s up.
Those high school and college years are so important, you guys. Take advantage of them. These are the years where you have to get out there, especially in this current world where after you're done with school, life just kind of becomes isolation central, even if you have friends. Go to parties, talk to girls, even if you're scared. Raise your hand in class and give your thoughts, even if you're nervous. And if you stutter or are proven wrong, don't be ashamed. Be brash, make mistakes, join that club, play that sport, cherish your victories, big or small, learn from your losses, and ultimately try to develop a deeper understanding of yourself in all facets. And speaking of which, you have very little to lose. It's so important to embark on this journey of development and self-discovery early in your life, because this life experience is what builds your capability, understanding of the world, competence, and your confidence. Like anything else, confidence is a skill that you must learn, hone, and develop, and if you want it, you have to venture out into the world, as harrowing and treacherous as it is. But before long, those same waves of treachery will become the stillest of waters. And are your late teens and 20s the best time of your life? Hell no. If anything, they may be some of the worst, and definitely some of the most tumultuous, but in our current world, it is a non-negotiable that you do everything in your power to get out there. And if you can do that with a community, a group of young guys, or even just one friend that want to be on a similar path as you, and you share that experience with them, I'm telling you, man, that is everything. Once again, that conversation is for another video. Anyway, this brings up the topic of proximity, which is always severely understated. In your high school and college years, you're given the blessing of being around the same people for a ridiculously long period of time. As a man, if you want success with women, you obviously need to possess some attractive qualities, but honestly, the true key is just being around them for long enough without fucking up. And what I mean by that is don't be a weirdo. You have classes, lunches, work, etc. with the women in your life, and if you just don't mess up, chances are you're highly likely to become friends with them, and maybe in the future something more will transpire, and if not, that is more than fine. My friends, proximity is everything in today's day and age, and it's imperative that you young guys see the value in that. I've noticed that the ubiquitous Gen Z vernacular is equivalent to that of Paleolithic era cavemen grunts and yells. Gentlemen, I'll keep this short, but beauty does not exclusively exist within one's looks. Although pretension may not be something to strive for, possessing a substantial vocabulary and effectively articulating your thoughts will separate you from damn near 99% of your contemporaries. And I and many women alike will admit there is an undeniable beauty within verbal eloquence. Although I facetiously uttered many of the colloquialisms of the day in this video, I never, and I repeat, never want to hear another man ever say, bro, the huz, type shit, the baddies, riz, or any of this bullshit unironically ever again. And yes, maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but just put some effort into the way that you speak, please. This also does kind of reinforce the idea that men are just these dumb and incompetent beings that don't know their hat from their glove, and as men collectively, we cannot let this narrative be furthered. Another thing, young men, I implore you, please don't try to argue with women and stop resenting them for their delusional thinking and somewhat unsavory behavior that you see on the internet. It's okay to recognize it and even call it out. Like, look, I'll be the first person to say that the collective sisterhood needs to get their shit together, but the bitterness towards them that I frequently see needs to end and will only result in more divisiveness and unproductive interactions between the genders. It's tough, I know, but resenting women will only proliferate your romantic stagnation and make women detest men even more than they already do. And more of that doesn't really seem to be the way forward, does it? We need to do our part to bring the genders together, not widen the chasm between us. Excuse the sentimentality, but I'll end with this. Although coming across incredibly virtuous Proverbs 31-esque women is more difficult than ever, cue the misogyny again, I guess. Sorry, ladies. There are women nearly in all of our lives that in many cases have given the ultimate sacrifice and are bastions of virtue, beauty, and life regardless of their shortcomings. My friend, friends, those women are our mothers. Within the manosphere, it's commonplace for redpillers and blackpillers alike to say, unconditional love is reserved for women, children, and animals, and men are only loved under the condition that they provide. That's a very Sigma male quote right there, but honestly kind of true. But honestly, that's how it's supposed to fucking be. But in many cases, certainly not all, sorry DBDR, many of our mothers do love us unconditionally and still want the best for us and care about us even when we're unsure and lost about what our role and purpose is in this world. Even if they give us a hard time, many of our mothers are there for us. And for a young man in this current era, if your mother is still there for you and if she cares about you even in the slightest, it is your obligation to do your best to protect and provide for her and not take her sacrifice and genuine love for you for granted. Especially if she's divorced, which over half of Gen X women are. Just show her that you can be useful at the very least and try your best to be competent in everything you do for her, and most importantly, appreciate the fact that she loves you. They haven't given up on us like almost everyone else, and we need to appreciate the shit out of that. Our journey begins here. If we can be men of quality to the women in our lives, maybe little by little there will be a chance that they develop less negative and antagonistic views towards us, and possibly even begin to appreciate and respect men. Maybe this plan is an exercise in futility, but I genuinely don't think this to be the case. If we truly want things to change, it begins with us. And as fucked as it is, as men, navigating these days of confusion, tumult, and apathy is the battle we fight and is our current purpose. Keep swinging that sword, my friends. Good night, my darlings. Bye-bye.
Subscribe.